Hello and welcome. I am the Restless Kaiser.
And I'm Jonny B. But together we are
Modelling for Advantage. Mate, how much did you pay for this foolishness?
£2 a pop, mate. Well worth it, eh?
£2? You said you were going to a pound shop.
It was multiples of, you know, like pounds.
This was more than a pound in a pound shop?
Yeah.
Mate, psh. Well,
anyways.
20-second joke, which we may not use. So it's Halloween, isn't it, mate?
Halloween!
Halloween.
It is Halloween, yes.
It is Halloween. So if you've not been here before for one of these, we have a series of, there's a theme for today's show, which is horror.
Spooky stuff.
Spooky stuff. The intro might have given that away a little bit. The balloons, perhaps.
Epic work.
Jonny B's fine mass purchases.
Oh.
So we're going to have some industry news, some channel news, and then we'll go through a series of contributions with our, well, contributors, I guess.
Funny that, yes.
Looking at their responses to the theme of horror. And we're going to finish up with a YouTuber recommendation. First up, as ever, Jonny B can only buy figures from one company. Tell us about what's going on in GW land.
That is fake news.
Is that
I
fake
just
news?
want to say that.
You have bought things from
News.
Warlord?
I have bought things from Warlord and various other companies as well. Generally one random miniature that I can use in 0 games. Anyways, at the point of release, we've just had...
You're at the point of release. It's a bit early in the show for that, John.
At the point of release of this video.
Oh, right, as this video, yeah.
We have got some big-ass behemoths.
Have we?
The Sons of Behemoth from GW.
Oh,
now,
are these the $1 million giants?
They're like 130 quid, 140
quid? Are they
quid?
the same as the resin ones from Mantic, which are about 40 quid?
Not quite, but yes. But no. But yes,
I mean, they're not resin though, are they?
They're not resin, they're plastic. And they're
but it's
awesome.
a lot of money to pay for not resin.
It's a lot of money. But they are big. I've not held one, as it were.
No.
In the
Your
flesh.
brother's painting one.
He's painted one.
We'll put a...
Can you do that?
I think so.
If you can, it's awesome.
Because he does Twitch, not YouTube, doesn't he? But he does Facebook as well.
He does.
Hopefully,
there's bound to be some stills.
If not, there might be a long worded description of how you will find it. If I come back, I think I can.
But yeah,
He's
just
been doing
that. But that, I mean, that's been out for about a week, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
The other news, there was a one of them shows that they do on a Saturday, a preview
One of them
show.
shows that they do on a Saturday.
Oosh. And it was like WARCRY and
Yes,
Blood Bowl.
New WARCRY. So just to say about, I love WARCRY. I'm really saddened
You're into that, aren't you?
by how little that game has taken off. For me, it's like a game. It takes less than an hour. It's like roll 6s to win.
Pretty much.
Move 10 miniatures around.
Solid mechanics.
Mate, and it's got a mission structure and a random deployment, random mission, random objective. It works. I like it because every game is quite different.
Well, it looks like this new box set is a bit like what they did with Kill Team when they brought out that sort of arena deathmatch styley thing. I think they've done that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like the Kill Team box where you got loads of scenery.
Yeah.
But this is a board with some plastic doors. I mean, they maybe heard about Hero
Get some bridges. It's funny that there's a lot of people on the Hero Quest communities.
The scenery is a big part for me of the attraction of those big sets. Yeah. You know, it's like you get rules, you get miniatures. You may or may not want them, but you get a battlefield to play on that's 3D. It's nice. And this will get you stuff. It's like a board game with nice
I'm not
scenery.
sure where they're going at. And the price point, I don't know if they've released it yet. It's like 125 quid or something.
Yeah,
potentially. They're giving
compare that to the Kill Team scenery sets, or even just the Command Edition 40k scenery that you get. You know.
Well, yeah.
I want some if I'm playing a miniatures game, I want a 3-dimensional board. I don't want a board game with some plastic doors. Open plastic doors like that.
So there's that. There's Blood Bowl. That's a new thing. New season. Not much to say.
Like a new edition.
Like a new edition, yeah. It's the core of Blood Bowl as we know it, but they've had a bit of a shape up. Ironically, they've gone and done it like, you know what they did with 9th edition 40k. They got a lot of people to
big
test it, like big play testers, tournament players, and everything else like that. It sounds like they've done a similar thing with this Blood Bowl. So they've gone out there and had.
How did they get a load of tournament players during COVID to play test their game?
As in, not so much that,
but they did it before February, or they're lying.
Exactly, true. But that's what they're trying to say. So, you know, there's a lot of tightening of the rules. Loopholes have been sewn up.
Right.
And I love
Didn't they address a lot of that with like the Spike editions and so forth?
Not really. Spike editions was just like whenever they released a team. They'd give you the stats for that and a bit of more in-depth fluff and blah, blah,
Right, but it didn't really do, it wasn't like an errata type thing.
I think so. They might have done a few little rules, but I never really bought any. So is that, last thing briefly, is Kill Team.
New Kill Team.
Is getting a new thing going on.
Well, we've just seen a very short, like 30-second video. It's got Space Marines and Necrons in it, mate. It's like, I reckon I could have guessed that. But in the little clip that we saw, it was interior.
Yeah, I need to go back. It did not make an impression on me.
It was indoors, and that could be good or bad. Because if we end up with a board like Arena, or if we end up with a board like they've done with that new WARCRY set, where it's just a cardboard printed board with some doors on it, I'm not up for that.
Not a fan.
I'm not in, no. And I don't think Arena did that well, because that's not why you play a miniatures game.
It might not have done that well with us, but I think it might have done all right, because it's more like
the tournament
competitive.
People like it. Yeah, the tournament people like it.
That's the gist of it.
You have to pick missions and objectives and stuff. It's all a bit, whoa, don't know what to do. Just tell me. Give me scenarios as you're doing this.
So there's that. I'm sure there's other stuff, but that's all I can be bothered to remember.
So the other companies, there's two things I want to say. One was in relation to the theme of Halloween. Is Annie from Bad Squiddo Games done like the Witch's Cottage thing.
Oh, yes.
Which did a little video. And I think, am I right in thinking Jason from Battle Knights?
Yeah, his
missus is painting up that set for them,
she seems to do quite a bit of work for Bad
Squiddo. But it's got all like little knickknacks and stuff. You love all that stuff, don't you, John?
It's gorgeous.
And it's not just like a chest, it's all kind of crooked doors and everything's a bit wobbly. Yeah. It's all nice little resting pieces.
The Bad Squiddo terrain sets are quite nice.
They're quite nice, yeah. It's like that. And just think like picnic sets, just things that are nice miniatures, I think. And I love a bit of that.
It's sweet.
But just in terms of like miniatures companies in general, outside of GW, you know, the COVID and the production problem, it's still going on. So we, as you probably know, we do actually sell some products on our website. So I buy from Warlord and I buy from Battlefront, and the lists are getting quite short. So Warlord, for example, through third parties, they only, you know, and they send you an order form, it's only got the really core stuff.
Oh, really?
It's basically what they do in plastic. Is what's available.
That's what they can get hold of themselves.
Yeah. And although a lot of companies, they're keeping up with the schedule of new releases, if you want to get some, I've been trying to get Africa Corps Metal Infantry for about 4 months from Battlefront.
Not a chance.
No. I put an order in about every 2 weeks. They just haven't got it. And I think that problem is going to go on, because it's everything, although they've sort of got, as I said, they've got their production to do, their release schedule, they cannot refill the back catalogue that they've sold out of. That's really prioritising the popular stuff.
The core sets,
main stuff,
like that.
Yeah.
Shock.
So, I mean, there's still stuff out on eBay and what have you, but if you're waiting for something that's a bit more niche, you might be waiting a long time.
Boo!
That's the news anyway.
That's all of that.
That's all the news.
Do you want to see something really awesome, mate?
Don't want to see. I always want to see something awesome.
This is something new.
Something new.
Something new. I believe this is a lady that you maybe know.
You're making it sound a lot more saucy, and she is French.
Yeah, right. She's French.
She is the cousin of a very close friend of mine from work. Right. Charlotte is an illustrator, and check
this out.
Mate, what was that?
That, sir, is called skills.
That's called mad skills.
Something that we don't possess.
No. You remember we said in another videos that we don't know any talented people? Turns out I do.
Oh, you do, yeah. Not
I couldn't believe how she got it still all neat. You see, when she was splooshing the ink on me, I was like, that's going to go everywhere.
But how it melded with the middle section, I was like, well, now what? And then she got the old, I don't know, Tipex out or whatever.
It was. Like, whoa.
Pretty grim, though. Pretty grim. And I like that.
What, you mean the image? The graven image, yeah. So Charlotte's an illustrator and she worked for a fashion house for a while. She got a YouTube channel, provide a link for that. She's just quite young, you know, starting these things out. And we're thinking about commissioning Charlotte to do some t-shirts for us. So this is the kind of, you know, that's not the only thing that she can do. We're hoping we have some more content from Charlotte.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're someone who thinks you want to pay money for that image on a t-shirt, let us know and we'll think about getting some manufactured.
Fact.
Should say at this point, if I keep looking over there, we've got the COVID
like,
thing going on.
Hello, he's over there, I'm over here.
I've got the laptop here which tells me what we're doing.
I could do this way.
We're because of the way the cameras are, we're at funny ends of the room.
And that's why you can see only up my nose, because of the angle of the thing and the thing. He's over there.
Absolutely. So on the subject of channel news, then some of the things that we've got coming up in the future, in a not too distant future, rather than in a, like, you know, maybe one day. World of Tanks and Miniatures game, we've already unboxed.
That's a thing, yeah.
We're recording some games this week and hopefully get those out over the next couple of weeks. We like the previous game. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully not too much has changed.
No, the new cover rules basically, and the dice are a different colour.
And that's it.
I mean, the tanks have got different stats and things, but
ultimately same stuff.
We've played a bit of Team Yankee.
We have.
So we played the first 2 starter sets. The Hammerfall one is really just, this is how the rules work.
Yeah.
The World War III new starter set, which is fantastic value, that was a bit unbalanced.
Yes.
But I don't know if it was terribly unbalanced when you played in that. I think that battle could have gone either way.
We had terrain and stuff, which you wouldn't really have.
Yeah, we shoved a lot on so that we couldn't just shoot from 6 foot away.
I can imagine it would be supremely unbalanced if you've literally just plugged them together, glued them together.
Played it on the kitchen table.
You're playing on the table. It's like, what the hell am I even doing?
Yes.
Because those T-80s were brutal, possibly.
When they hit.
When they hit, yeah, that's the thing, yeah.
But now there's a bit of a call on that, though, for dudes. People want to see some infantry. A lot of people want to see dudes. We understand that.
Yeah.
And you do. If you want to play Battlefront games seriously, you do need infantry. But they really slow the game down. And just while we're building a collection, it's not that we're not interested in infantry, but we do like the quicker games. So I think we're going to stick with vehicles.
I'm not interested.
For a while. You're not interested.
Don't care.
I mean, as soon as somebody puts a platoon of infantry down on the table, you've got to clear it off the objective to win the game.
Yeah.
And then you need a variety of different weapon systems.
Exactly right.
But I think we're going to build towards that as we become more fluid with the game.
It will be done, but yeah.
Because there's a lot of rules you can ignore when you don't have infantry, and that's a good thing when you're learning a game. So that's it with the channel news. And the other big thing will be the bolt action. In the background, we've been working on 2 new armies. One entirely new army, one a new player working on a.
When you say we have been working on it,
well, not you, but modelling for advantages contributors.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and you'll see some of that. And Jonny B and I are going to be doing some D-Day narrative stuff.
Yeah, going back to that.
Yeah, and the models are nearly ready for that.
Pretty much.
Very nearly ready.
Very different game.
We'll see that soon. So let's move on then in the main feature of horror to talk about RPGs.
Whoa.
So you're not a role player, is it, John?
It's not a role player.
When we was talking about horror role playing, it would be wrong not to mention the Call of Cthulhu.
Yes.
Everybody knows Call of Cthulhu. Mine's a very old edition. I do like Cthulhu.
It's probably.
In terms of horror role playing, I think one of the things that's really important is threat.
Yeah, and a lot of them don't really cover that. I don't know much about Cthulhu, but I know that you do not stand a chance. You're going to die.
No. You're a human being facing the outer darkness.
Exactly.
I think there's often a drive in role-playing games to allow characters to progress and to develop and to get better.
Yes.
And the problem with that is that they're then more capable and less things are threatening. And so really what Cthulhu's very good at is saying, you're still just a dude, though. You never get any more hit points, mate. You know?
Still just a dude, man.
You're still just a dude. You may know all kinds of secrets, but you're just a dude.
Wow.
Yeah. I do like it for that. And I think it's quite a little bit sad in in contemporary society, though, the Cthulhu has become so ubiquitous. You get Cthulhu teddies and stuff like that. I think you've missed the idea somewhat. If you snuggle up at night as a 5-year-old with a Cthulhu doll. It's like, although there's something quite insidious about that, perhaps. Maybe that is the true horror. But anyway, let's have a listen to Mr. James' workshop talking about role-playing games.
Ooh.
Hello, and welcome to this very special Halloween episode of Literature Corner. This week we will be looking at the history and cultural significance of this very important game, Vampire the Masquerade. Come with me, we do not have much time.
Vampire the Masquerade is a pen and paper role-playing game released in 1991, the first game released from White Wolf Publishing in their World of Darkness series. White Wolf were up to this point known among RPG circles for their magazine, White Wolf Magazine, until a merger with Lion Rampant gave them access to game designer Mark Reinhagen, creator of Kaiser's favourite, Ars Magica. Reinhagen was inspired by Call of Cthulhu and RuneQuest, but wanted to add a vampire twist, an idea developed while driving to a game show through the abandoned 1990s industrial centres of the US. He thought, however, hunting vampires would get boring, so drawing on Lost Boys and modern mythology stories, the idea of developing a game where you instead play vampires developed. The dark, moody urban setting and a concentration on story rather than the more standard tables, charts and dungeons of contemporary games made it accessible and intriguing, especially among a burgeoning gothic subculture of the time. Multiple expansions added a lot of repeat playability, and a comparative dice system created with Shadowrun creator Tom Dowd supplements but does not confuse the real game, that being a story between players. The cultural phenomenon that followed has influenced both real-life events and media, even occasionally to the point of lawsuit. Fundamentally, if you've seen media with a dark, brooding vampire in modern society, wearing leather and brutally brooding around the place, you're seeing the influence of the World of Darkness. Obvious examples are 1997's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which even has examples of specific clans within its characters.
What are we playing here?
We're not. I'm not playing anything. I wrestled with this decision.
The Underworld series of films, also using the World of Darkness's fellow book series of Werewolf the Apocalypse and its Werewolf Vampire Wars, and more recently True Blood, which used the political system and background to such a degree that it actually did lead to a lawsuit. It would be easy to say that these archetypes and ideas had existed before, such as the books of Anne Rice, but Vampire the Masquerade combined and expanded them into a true phenomena. 5 editions, dozens of expansions, multiple video games, and even a questionable TV series, with many more in development, point to an influence that simply can't be explained in such a short time. Fashion, literature, film, and even modern club culture all offer some credit to the World of Darkness, and to Vampire the Masquerade itself.
So we have learned together the history and importance of this very special game. Even if you do not see me, I will see you later in another episode of Literature Corner. Thank you.
So mate, what look at that, which is movie clips,
that
things
was like
dressing up.
Pro.
Mate, I reckon the guy's a bit of a cosplayer.
It was like that dude.
Not role playing, weekend, do you know what I mean?
Oh, right. Different way. Different way. He looked like that dude from that film.
Looked like that dude in that film?
You know, 10 Questions
Samuel
with
Jackson.
a Vampire.
Oh, Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah, that one.
That one. Right, that bad film about that bad book about vampires.
Fact.
Yeah. He's right, though, about the perception of contemporary vampires. That it's very heavily influenced by that game. Really good. All right, next we've got something from Clueless Mike on the theme of horror.
Ooh.
Hi folks, Clueless Mike here. So today's topic is horror. So I'm going to talk about role-playing games because I haven't really got any miniatures that really do horror anymore. So I've played many horror role-playing games over the years, most famous of which is probably Vampire the Masquerade. I've played one called Orpheus, which was really quite horror-based, about paranormal investigations. But the one that I think is the most fun, and one you could go out and easily play yourselves, would be one called Dread. The idea of Dread is that you have a simple character. You start off with a bunch of questions and you have your character idea in mind and you write down the answers to these questions. It'll be things like a few significant parts from their life. It'll be what they were good at school, what they did for a job, simple things like that. And then all your characters wake up somewhere. The one we played most recently, we all wake up and we're in the bottom of this tower and we investigate. It's really weird stuff going around, and we find out that basically we've got to get to the top of this weird, creepy tower to escape. Seems simple enough, but the trick for dread comes in the resolution mechanic. There are no dice, no cards, nothing like that. If you try and do anything that your backstory doesn't explain that you were competent at, then you have to go over to a Jenga tower that you have set up, and you have to take a draw from the tower. Seems simple enough. So at the start of the adventure, you're doing more simple things. You're each taking draws from the tower. It's no problem. You're building your Jenga tower up. But as the adventure goes on, if the DM has planned it correctly, the tension will build. More difficult things will come up. You'll be making more draws from the tower, and it'll be getting really precarious. And you're all trying to get out, but you all will try and get out. It's up to you to get yourself out. You don't really care about your friends that much. So you're drawing from the tower, trying to make sure you don't fall over. And when it falls over, the character who fell over died, and you recreate it up to nearly the level it was at. A brilliant mechanic. It adds a load of extra tension for every kind of like thing your character does, and it really drives what you're doing and really just ramps up the tension through the evening. I'd recommend going and finding a copy or downloading a copy. I'm sure you can get it on Drive-Thru RPG. Works really well for single one-shots. Play them over Halloween. Excellent fun.
Michael's been role-playing for a very long time.
Too long.
He's got a lot of different things, but the mechanics of that game seem quite interesting, to be honest. Yeah, I'd be interested to see.
I'm still none the wiser.
You're still none the wiser. It's because you are not wise.
I don't know what's going on.
It's a game with different rules.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you like games, but not rules.
I just like pushing toys around and rolling dice.
Well, speaking of pushing toys around and rolling dice, let's go on and talk about the miniatures.
Oh, minis.
Long-term friend of the channel and fellow YouTuber, the delightful Mr. Brush and Quill, has got some beautiful miniatures to share with you.
What you got?
Check this.
Are you an anthropomorphic personification? Do you feel that you've been misrepresented? I'm Brush and Quill, and I'm here to talk to you about death. To be precise, Terry Pratchett's death. My wife is a big fan of the books, and I've been painting for her for many years now figures from the Mini Arts range of Terry Pratchett figures. And here is the collection of deaths, Death Eye, from that range, with some additions from other places to fill in missing gaps. So on the end here we have Death from Soul Music playing his electric guitar. So painted up in a nice blue and white Buddy Holly tribute there, even though it's a flying V, which is the wrong type of guitar. And down here's a little old fantasy figure that I put in a tiny little drum kit, if you can see it, to be the Death of Drummers. Hiding at the back here is a Skaven figurine, which I've added a scythe to be the Death of the Rats, who has his own Twitter feed, by the way, just in case you're interested. This is Death on this side here, as you can tell, and this is his granddaughter Susan, who has the power of death, as is, you will have seen her in the Hogfather movie on Sky, where this character is also from. This is Death as the Hogfather, from the book by the same name and the movie. And then lastly, this is a 40mm horse from Front Rank, which I felt was an appropriate size for Death, being like about 7 foot tall. His horse Binky, which is a living horse, but is ridden by Death. So yeah, so this is Death as represented by Terry Pratchett. He's not evil or spooky. He's kind of curious about humanity, to be honest with you, from what I've read and what I've seen. And yeah, so that's my spooky entry. I'm Brush and Quill. You guys have a good one.
Mate, Terry Pratchett.
Dude, he like writes books and stuff, right?
Well, he's dead, of course.
Oh, so we can't do that.
Famously died. Yeah.
Is he?
Well, when you're famous and you die, I suppose you're famously dead, right?
I guess that's how it works.
Yeah, interesting take on horror, because Death is really not a horrific character in those stories.
No, he's quite a dude.
Quite stories. I have to say, as a teenager, Terry Pratchett was something that reading a book where you genuinely laugh, just burst out laughing, reading the books,
mate,
that's a rare experience.
Yeah, if I could read, I would have. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Mr. Men books were funny in places, though, right?
Fact.
Yeah.
Still are.
All right. Jimotehk is going to talk to us about some of his miniatures.
So as you might know, my girlfriend paints exclusively gross boys, is what I've been told. And these are some of her creations. Only one of these was painted by me, as far as I know, which is the Demon Prince in the middle for my Slaves to Darkness army. The rest were painted by her. This is primarily the Kill Team Rogue Trader box. Maybe one day you'll see them on the channel, and we'll see them facing off against the Star Striders. I've painted those up, but only for Necromunda, really. Against Jonny B, where he's bringing some Venators, I believe. So these are our gross boys. A horde of them shambling towards you. Probably not very scary when you've got 2 wounds and they're hitting on like 8s or something, you know. But yeah, that's our spooky Halloween entry.
Love me a bit of Nurgle, don't you?
I'm confused though. Are they
confused? You're very easily confused.
Yeah, it sounded like
Mrs.
It's Mrs.
That would be SSUS apostrophe.
Mrs.
It's Mrs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Mrs.
It
with
did an alright job.
genitive form.
She did an alright job.
She did an alright job there. Yeah, absolutely. We had another miniatures video, right?
Oh, please don't judge me.
Don't judge. The miniatures are nice, but the production quality of the video,
Shonky.
what can you do? Here's Jonny B. Check this.
Rising from a slumber eons past, bones creaking, flesh stiff with rigor mortis, these beings awake, hungering for flesh. Preferably chicken. Anyway, enough about my morning. I would like to show you some of these wonderful undead miniatures. Ranging from the late 80s and early 90s, I painted these for some WARCRY. But alas, they have never seen the tabletop. Still beautiful miniatures nonetheless. I intend to paint a hell of a lot more, because, you know, I have them. Anyways, there's some undead and some horror for you this Halloween, yes?
So, mate, the Skeleton Horde. They weren't all from that box, though, right?
No, there was a few different boxes. There was this, and there was an army as well.
Yeah. But there was mummies and stuff.
Yeah, they're the metal ones. They're the metal ones.
They're not even the Hero Quest ones.
No. These are the little, just normal skelly bobs. I love the era.
I love the Restless Dead.
There you go.
I remember these very clearly.
I just love it, the artwork and everything.
Yeah, because this is kind of where we moved from board game pieces were made out of soft plastic, and you had little 1/72 Airfix plastic soldiers
with the bendy rifles,
proper bendy, yeah. And you had metal miniatures,
Oosh.
and then
they brought these out.
And then they brought stuff like this,
doofers.
actually, these skeletons are better than metal skeletons. There are metal skeletons today which are nicer than those, but for an early modular multi-part plastic kit, I mean, I say multi-part,
well,
isn't it like you can have the sword,
put...
or you can have the spear?
Yeah, there's a few different weapons. There's an axe, a spear, and a sword and whatnot. But yeah,
all the arms are bent at the same angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can have it like this.
Show these beautiful people a sprue. Prove to them that box isn't empty.
Sprue? It's nearly empty though, if I'm honest.
I mean, John's the kind of idiot that would have bought the sprues on eBay separately from some Chinese moulder, and then he'd have bought the empty box separately from somebody else.
That's the gist of it. I didn't in this case though, I don't think. So yeah,
that's the original sprue.
Yeah, man. Legs and torsos, boom.
It's quite a dense sprue, isn't it?
It's diddy as well.
That's got to be 30 years old. That
at least. I would look for a date, but it would
the
be
modern
on
skeleton kits are not the same.
They did a very similar one in the sense that you still got the arm and the weapons, but they were much bigger.
Are they?
Much bigger, yeah.
They're more manly.
Well, like completely out of scale.
So what do you reckon is the enduring attraction of the skeletons then?
I don't know. What is it about undead?
Almost everybody thinks about having an undead army. Has had painted a few skeletons at some point.
I don't know what it is.
Is it because we watched the Ray Harryhausen Sinbad
Possibly.
and stuff?
Yeah, it could be that.
We've seen skeleton monsters. That was cool.
Perhaps we all just want to live forever, even if we're sort of just
as a skeleton.
Yeah.
It's a mindless dead.
Well, you know.
Definitely not.
Something to do.
all I've got to show you on the miniature front, we got a lot of contribution this time. It's just to say I've been working on my Nighthaunt Warcry warband. I'm doing these Mournfang Banshees at the moment, and mate, these are causing me a lot of problems.
In what respect?
I'm too lazy as a painter, and it's the sculpted bases. I'm normally a fan of sculpted bases-ish, although I'm going off it. There's just too much going on. Like on this one,
they do cram a lot of detail.
There's the ground, there's the skulls, then there's vines with roses on, then there's stonework with iron railings sticking out and wood. It's like, this is fiddly. Wow. Some of the other ones didn't have those. Paint them white and put this Nylon oxide on me, and I'm good.
That's the winner. Yeah, I thought they would be easy to paint. One.
So you know you have them projects that just sit on the bench forever, and it's just like these 4 miniatures staring at you.
Pretty much every project I've ever done.
These have been on that desk for ages.
Well, let's get some stills up so we can see that one anyway.
So you can see that one. Well, I'm not even happy with it either.
Are you not?
No, it's too. I put too much Nylon oxide on it, I reckon.
Oh.
So we do have a little bit more on the miniatures front from a friend of the channel, Harry from Fog of War.
Ooh.
He's done something on horror.
Hello, Kaiser. So horror is a difficult topic for historical wargamers. There's always the generic horror of war, I suppose, but it's hard to be specific. I had considered doing riverine patrol boats for NAM as a sort of Apocalypse Now homage. The horror, the horror. But I've decided to talk about the Nightwitches. The Nightwitches, or Nachthexen as the Germans called them, was one of 3 all-women aviation regiments of the Soviet Air Force. The 588th Night Bomber Regiment flew obsolete training biplanes over the German lines in the Russian front in World War II. They would cut their engines and glide across the enemy trenches before releasing their tiny bomb loads. The regiment would forward deploy at dusk, and crews would make up to 8 attacks each night before they withdrew at dawn. Their aircraft was the Polikarpov PO-2, an obsolete training aircraft pressed into service as a bomber during the early desperate days of the war. Zvezda make a very simple wargaming kit of this plane in 1/44th scale, suitable for 15mm games like Flames of War. The bomber was powered by a tiny 5-cylinder radial engine that the Germans complained sounded like a sewing machine. The Russian name for the plane was Kukuruzhnik, or crop duster. It was simple to build and maintain, and could operate from any reasonably flat field. The aircraft remained in service until 1952, and it's estimated over 30,000 were built. The Soviet Air Force wasn't initially keen on female combat pilots, but 23 personnel of the Nightwitches were awarded the title Hero of the Soviet Union. From its formation in 1942, the regiment remained in operation until it disbanded in October 1945. The fear instilled in the enemy by women flying obsolete biplanes at the dawn of the jet age certainly fits the criteria for horror.
Mate, always loved me a bit of history. Harry's been quite creative in the way he's responded to some of these.
Very, I mean, generally it's World War II related, but
Nachthexen.
Nachthexen.
The German soldiers apparently hated these.
Well, yeah, because they sounded like sewing machines.
Yeah, but what they would do is, because they were given this totally obsolete aircraft.
Well, we saw then, didn't we?
With terrible, terrible bomb loads. They did do the bombing attacks at night, but they switched the engines off.
What?
And a bit like what they do, and they glide in.
Wow.
And then bomb. So they would like...
And all night. They said that they might do 8 runs. So
8 raids a night.
You're a Jerry trying to get some kip, and then...
Yeah. And a bit like with the Doodlebug, you know that when the engine stops, you've got that sort of foreshadowing. The bomb's... Yeah, whereas on a plane, it, flies over, maybe it's dropped its bomb, maybe it hasn't. The engine's running, I'm safe. If the engine's not running, that's when they're going to do it.
Good on them.
Apparently they had massive bounties on these women. They described them. Yeah, because they just hated them. It's like, this is a violation of all that is, natural.
Ladies,
and this is to the Nazis, of course, who've got a really rather queer idea about what's natural and normal.
Crazy.
Yeah, nice.
Nice,
and
Harry.
that kit from Zvezda, I've seen a few of those little Zvezda kits. They're like £2, £3 each or something.
As did he though, isn't it? He said Flames of War size.
It's Flames of War size, yeah. The aircraft tend to be smaller scale, because actually aircraft are very, very big.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, in bolt action, you get the 1/72nd, don't you? You put it there, and it's like completely. The guy can't even get in it, but that's all that's available.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so that's about what we've got for you on the main feature. We decorated the room for you and everything.
Yeah.
It's about this time of the show I normally recommend a YouTuber to you, and this time I'm going to recommend a really interesting YouTuber, Seventh Son. He does some Black Powder stuff, Napoleonics, he does some Wars of the Roses stuff, and he's doing a Carthaginian Ancients army at the moment, which I've been watching. Great painting, really good quality battle reports, high production value, but he's into his history. So his Carthaginian army that he's doing, for example, he's fighting it for a particular battle.
Whoa, that's proper.
Which is when it was still in there. They've just come down from the mountains and they've still got across the Alps. Is it Trebia? The first annihilation of a Roman army. So they've still got some of their winter clothes. So they've done a little bit of green stuff work on them.
All the furs and bits and bobs.
Yeah, a little bit of it because they don't fight in the winter, or not quite.
Well,
anyway,
not intentionally.
Let's check out Seventh Son. Here he is.
Hi to the Restless Kaiser and Modelling for Advantage. I'm Seventh Son, aka Martin, and this is a bit of a channel spotlight that Kaiser's very kindly asked me to put together. So I can just tell you what my channel is all about. I started the channel about just over a year ago, just when the contrast paints came out, just as I wanted to do some contrast paints on historicals because I couldn't find any videos that were doing that at the time. That seemed to pick up a bit of traction, so I started doing some painting videos. If you come on my channel, you're going to see painting videos for Napoleonics, you're going to see them for some fantasy stuff, and you can see stuff for medievals as well. I started to introduce a little bit of history talk into those as well. Battle reports. You'll see battle reports from the Wars of the Roses, which is a period that I'm hugely into. It's brutal, bloodthirsty, there's a great history, people are changing sides all the time, and there's some great characters. And you're also going to see battle reports from the Napoleonics. Basically, if you want to watch a grown man who's been into the hobby for 25 years get beaten by his wife, who he's just introduced to the hobby, then this is the channel for you to watch. It's just the rolls. No! Check out Modelling for Advantage. It's one of the best channels out there. Great content, very unique, and I really appreciate the chance to show off my channel. So come check out the channel, check out Modelling for Advantage. How do I end? Oh, come here. Oh, come on.
So to lead us out, here's Clueless Mike with another one of his many hobby spaces. What? So many. So in the meantime, stay home where you can and stay safe and take care of each other. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
And this is my second workbench. This is actually at my work. I run a small electronics company, and at lunchtimes I sit here and do some modelling. I generally do basic modelling at work because I don't have my full supplies. You can see I've got some paints here, I've got obviously loads of tools because it's a factory, but I don't do any kind of like fine detail stuff. I do a lot of my base coating here, a lot of basic minis. So at the minute I am painting some Primaris Intercessor Counters, and see I'm in the middle of painting and highlighting those, which I do here. I'm also working on, what have I got in here? These are some eBay Rescue Bloodletters. I bought these thinking they were a really good deal. They were super cheap, and then when they arrived the person had stuck all the faces on with the tongues coming from underneath the chin, because they obviously hadn't figured out you had to feed the tongue through the mouth when you stick the faceplate on. So I'm having to prise all them off. Luckily they only glued them with normal glue, not plastic glue, so that's a nice job for lunchtimes. I also do any kind of like modelling and construction of basic models here because I've got loads of space. I do loads of my base coating with sprays and things here, and I do all my airbrushing here. So this is my second workbench. Everyone's got to have one of these nice little cutty things to protect your bench. I've got various brushes and tools. It means I need to have a second set of loads of common paints, but hey, keeps me busy at lunchtimes.
Cheers for making it to the end, guys. We really appreciate your support. Without you guys, we're just two dickheads.
Hi, Flokes. Flokes? What's Flokes?
Jesus Christ. Was that really all necessary, Sandra? Do I have to drink blood now? Is that what we're doing? This is ridiculous. Just get me a piece of real literature next time, yeah? It's fucking ridiculous. Christ.
Yeah. Hello and welcome. This balloon is going to be...
Mate.
Oh, busy. It's breakfast, you know what I mean?
Take my breath away.
Still don't know how we're going to hang these anywhere. Sit on the light bulbs and wait for them to pop.
If I faint.
If you faint, you're a piss degenerate, aren't you? Maybe you shouldn't be exerting yourself like that. You start the video like this.